Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Ulrich, for having me here. I will try to put Pegida in a somewhat broader context regarding also the recent developments of the German party landscape. 3 years ago, I was invited to write a chapter for an edited volume on right-wing populist parties in Europe about the German case, and my article was called "On the Failure of Right-Wing Populism in the Federal Republic." Meanwhile, as you all know, things have changed with the rise of the Alternative for Germany. The AfD was founded in April of 2013. It achieved its first remarkable electoral success in the European elections in May of 2014, winning 7% of the vote. Even better electoral showings were obtained by the AfD in state elections, 3 state elections in East Germany last summer. Support was more limited in Hamburg's state elections 4 weeks ago, which nonetheless allowed the party to enter West German parliament for the first time. Starting in September last year, we saw the advent of another right-wing populist actor, a protest movement called Pegida, which brought thousands of people to the streets in the Saxon state capital of Dresden, and with less success in other cities as well. Demonstrations are ebbing away now, but only slowly. In my opinion, both phenomena must be analyzed in the same context. They reflect a changing political environment in Germany that has created new possibilities for rightist political actors. Work in the comparative field has demonstrated that certain societal crisis constellations, which American historian Lawrence Goodwin refers to as populist moments, are usually a prerequisite for the spawning of such parties and movements. In the AfD's case, the euro and financial crisis played that role. It opened the window of opportunity for a new Eurosceptic party whose primary policy demands a controlled dissolution of the monetary union and the rejection of a further deepening of the European integration process lent themselves to the attachment of a broader right-wing populist platform to it. A closer inspection of the party's origins reveals its ability to draw on an already existing network of social and political structures in this task. Upon its founding, the AfD therefore did not have to start from scratch. Attempts at establishing the roots and reasons behind the party's success must, for example, incorporate the Sarrazin debate. Using his book Deutschland schafft sich ab, Germany does away with itself, to advance several propositions concerning the supposed failure of immigration and integration policies, SPD politician and former member of the executive board of the German Bundesbank, Thilo Sarrazin, launched a national debate that held the country captive for several weeks during the summer of 2010. A debate which played an instrumental role, in my opinion, in paving the way for the entry of right-wing populism into the discursive space. Sarrazin continued in his role as he also employed the populist formula in books on the Eurozone crisis, published in 2012, and a book about political correctness, published in 2014. According to polling data, AfD voters rank immigration alongside social security and a stable currency atop the list of topics that determines their choice at the ballot box, with the three on a roughly even level. While differences with the general electorate are not particularly sizable on the latter two issues, social security and stable currency, AfD voters were more than 3 times as likely as the general electorate to mention immigration as a decisive topic. The party therefore has a dual incentive to place a special emphasis on this policy area. Compared to the AfD, Pegida is a more difficult to grasp phenomenon. The usage of traditionally leftist forms of political participation by a middle-class conservative organization is by itself rather unusual. Existing observations and studies conducted among participants of its demonstrations indicate strong similarities with the AfD's electorate as male participants. The middle-aged, as well as people with a middle-ranged academic degree and a middle-class income, are significantly or slightly overrepresented. Among those who did mention a partisan preference, the AfD came out on top with 17%, ahead of the CDU and the extreme right NPD. Mirroring this, 76% of AfD voters voiced sympathy for Pegida in a representative poll, compared to a share of only 21% among all voters. The motivations driving AfD voters and Pegida participants can possibly best be characterized through the dual term of insecurity and anxiety. Insecurity refers more to the social situation, meaning apprehensions about a deprivation in wealth, while anxiety aims to describe emotions of cultural alienation, the loss of a familiar social order and its moorings. That a fear of foreigners is not necessarily at its most pronounced in those areas home to most foreigners is not a new finding. If the AfD played a central role in the genesis of Pegida by paving a right-wing populist path, the party could at the same time now be the reason for the rapid implosion of the protest movement. Dissatisfaction and a general protest sentiment held by angry citizens, Wutbürger, as we call them in Germany, have found their way into the party system through the AfD, providing them for the first time with a continuously perceptible political effective voice.